Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
The Judge Janine Pirro, Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday Morning Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, let's bring in our second VIP guest. He is Doug Goody. He obviously is VB to Wise. I mean, you've obviously heard him many times on the radio, because all of his clips go viral. So I'm like, I got to get this guy on this show on a Sunday morning because we're going to have some fun. Doug, how are you?
Joe, let's start with some good news. The 2025 NFL season has begun its initial descent. Yes. I'm going to need you to return your trade tables to the upright position and fasten your seatbelts, baby, because it's coming.
Wow. I think we have the Chargers and the Lions, right? That'll be the Hall of Fame game. I don't watch VB. I do not watch preseason. I can't. It's 1 or 2 possessions with your starters and then a bunch of guys wearing weird numbers for the rest of the game, and it's just something that I just can't do. But to your point, the season starts as early as it possibly can this year because Labor Day is always the first Monday of September, and this year it's literally September 1st. So we're going to have a season in about 6 or 7 weeks. But, yeah, I mean, summer's going by fast. Who's your team, by the way? You're a Patriots guy?
Well, I'll get to that in a second. First, I don't watch the preseason games either, but this is where X comes in.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't enjoyed the heck out of the Cleveland Browns unveiling their new helmet and the guy falling into the drink,
wow.
I mean, that video is unbelievable. The Jets fan base just absolutely losing their minds yesterday, as you would if you were a Jets fan. I mean, just go for the clips, Joe. That's all you need to know about preseason. Rodgers' first throw as a Steeler is a pick. I enjoy that kind of stuff.
And I'm watching right now. If you go to X right now and you go to NFL Retweet, that's NFL RT, at NFL RT, you literally see a guy who is, I guess, in charge of unveiling the Browns' new helmet, and he literally, I guess this is on the Mistake by the Lake, and falls right into the water. And that wasn't planned. Like, this actually happened. Like, this is the Browns. This is a team that's not only never won a Super Bowl, has never been to a Super Bowl, which is a really hard thing to do in this league. But sure enough, here we are.
And look at the helmet. Like, for somebody in the organization said, let's build this giant bullpen-type car out of our new helmet, which has nothing on it. It's just another ugly shade of brown. And they're like, all right, we'll do that. But what's better is we'll have the photographer do like a 360, and as he comes around the outside, he's going to miss a step and in the drink. And he's released the footage of it where you see the camera go underwater and then pop back up, and you're like, if ever there was a symbolic moment for a franchise, this is it.
Wow. And the thing is, the helmet, I don't want to stick on this too long, but it looks black. It doesn't even look brown. I don't quite know what color that is, but that's definitely not brown.
I know Trump's taking on the Commander's nickname, and that's fine. I would more like him to say, we're going to right some wrongs the other way. Cleveland, you are ordered to change your nickname because the Browns is just an awful nickname that doesn't lend itself to any kind of logo. There's a bunch of those in all of the leagues that these teams need to be changed. Like the Minneapolis Lakers, I got the LA Lakers. Really where? I don't see many lakes when I'm out there.
That's a great point. I guess the Browns were named after Paul Brown, right? And that's like he literally named the team after himself.
Name the field after him, but let's go with the Rock and Rollers or do something so we actually can have some imagery with that team.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up as far as like Trump going after the Commanders, because that has been stuck in my craw for, I guess, 12, 13 years now. I remember I was on CNN, this is before I signed with Fox, and I had to debate some liberal, I forget who it was, on the Redskins' name being changed. And he's like, it's insensitive. This is an insult to Native Americans. And I just brought up poll after poll at the time showing that Native Americans were not offended by the name. that 90% of Redskins season ticket holders wanted Redskins kept as the name, but a bunch of white guys, I guess, on social media and legacy media demanded that this happened. Then suddenly sponsors got spooked, and then the Redskins became, at first they were the Washington football team because they couldn't think of a name. Then they went with the Commanders, which is utterly ridiculous. I think that if I were to bet, VB, as far as if the Redskins are going to come back, like full uniform, full name, I think it's going to happen. I think that there's such demand for this, and woke is so dead that Trump is going to get his way on this one, and no one is going to really fight back, because to fight the woke fight at this point is a losing argument on basically everything.
Well, can we get the Utah hockey team to go back to that versus the Utah Mammoth? Because I'm not loving the Mammoth thing
Mammoths!
at all.
Oh.
And they were going to do the Yeti, but apparently the Yeti thermos company said they would sue for copyright, and a judge said they would win. I'm like, come on. Is this where we've gotten in 2025?
Jeez. That's insane. I didn't know about about the Utah hockey team, which is interesting. Better than being in Phoenix, which you can't play hockey in the desert. It's just utterly ridiculous.
By the way, I know we don't need to focus on sports forever, but we're not going to let the moment pass without talking about Hulk Hogan, who passed this week, and just what an ad. I know you had the good fortune of meeting him at the RNC last year, and there are giants in industry, and then there are guys that just are above everybody else, and all of those guys that are on the next rung go, yeah, but that's the guy. I mean, a lot of the heavy metal guys were doing this with Ozzy last week as well, but Hulk Hogan, I mean, it's hard to overstate the influence that guy had on an industry that in no way should ever have become what it did, but we're the better for it, as it turns out. And man, did we all look up to that guy at some point in our lives.
So, yeah, that's the thing. And you mentioned how I met him at the RNC last year. The way I met him was quite interesting. So Fox, basically, like all the other TV networks, we were given a suite, right, to broadcast from, and it overlooks the arena. And there's like a makeshift green room where you wait to go on. I think I was either going on with Jesse Waters or on Hannity. And I'm sitting, and I guess my back was turned to him. I didn't realize he walked into the room, and this guy just starts squeezing me, and I literally heard my bones crack, like like a chiropractor. I'm like, who is that? Because there's no one really at Fox, I guess, outside of Tyrus that could do this to you. And I just heard this voice right in my ear. He goes, "Brother, I love your work. I watch you all the time." I'm like, oh, my God, it's Hulk Hogan. Now, VB, here's the funny part about the story. 3 days before that, and this is the first thing I said to him, my son was 8 at the time, we watched Rocky III, and he was Thunder Lips. And it was like, it's one of the best scenes ever in any movie, where Rocky is, Stallone is short in real life, and then he's up against Hulk Hogan, who's immensely tall and huge, and they do this charity fight, and it gets completely out of control. It's the funniest thing you'll ever see. But he couldn't be any more like gracious and any more personable and funny, and I can't believe he seemed, I wrote at the time, I think, like, boy, he's really in great shape. And to hear that he died just at 71 is just, it's between that and Ozzy and Malcolm Jamal Warner, drowning accidentally. I mean, it's been a tough week if you're an 80s kid.
I keep telling people the lead singer of Golden Earring died last week, and nobody heard about it because too many other people that have major significance passed away. It's too much. We got to hit the pause button on this stuff. I'll just say this about Hulk Hogan. We interviewed him once when I was doing TV in Boston, and somehow a mouse had popped its head up in our studio. And, Joe, it's one of those moments. We had Hulk Hogan chasing a mouse, trying to scoop him up in a barrel, a trash barrel. And I thought, I've done something right to be able to witness this, because it was just this giant of a man chasing this little thing. He didn't get him, as it turned out, but it was just too funny. And then he comes back to the set and he goes, what the hell was I just doing?
So we have to do some politics, VB, because there's just it's supposed to be like the dead time of year, late July. Right. Congress is home, basically, right? It's like, all right, nothing going on. No, actually, Hunter Biden is the gift that keeps on giving for Republicans. And here he is. I want your reaction to this right out of it, so I won't say a word. Basically saying that crack is, safer than having a beer. This is cut whatever. Go.
Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite.
Go ahead. Take it.
We've We've gone from Nancy Reagan saying just say no to drugs to it's not bad. It's okay. You're not. It's not worse than alcohol. This whole Hunter Biden thing fascinates me. Like, did he go rogue and he's now booking interviews for himself, or is there some part of the Biden machine, insofar as there is such a thing, saying, let's put Hunter out at this late stage and let's have him rewrite some history. Let's have him be the one that says Joe was on Ambien during the debate. Hadn't heard that for a year now.
Yeah.
But now Hunter's going to claim that. And by the way, on that one, Joe, one of two things is true. Hunter is well aware of it because he was slipping his dad some stuff, or he's making it up and it's not true. Or the third possibility is that not only was he on Ambien, but there was all sorts of stuff being given to the president that night. I mean, everybody was joking the next day. How many Red Bulls did he have before they started to try and prop him up? Because everybody knew the 90 minutes was going to be too much. We'll never know what was in Joe Biden's system that night. Ambien wouldn't have been high on my list, but now it's there courtesy of the great diplomat Hunter Biden, who every interview he's ever done has had the opposite effect of what he thought it would do. And yet Joe Biden would still tell you that Hunter Biden is the smartest man he's ever known.
Oh, and here's the thing. I'm not a doctor, but I am married to a doctor. And I asked her, I go, is it a good idea to give an 81-year-old Ambien when they have sleep apnea? Because that can't be good, right? And she said, look, the problem with this is that if he's groggy, because Ambien's strong, right? If he gets up in the middle of the night and, has to use the bathroom, which a lot of 81-year-olds have to do, there's a very good chance that he could either fall, break a hip, or worse, right? So you don't want to give anybody with sleep apnea at that age that kind of drug because there's no positive effect. Hunter also said during that interview that he was tired, Joe Biden was, before that debate because he just got back from Europe and he was traveling around the world, and anybody would be tired in that situation. The problem is that Joe Biden did, 11 days before the debate. Then he went to Camp David, and literally in the New York Times, of all places, reported that he had a designated nap time for all the days that he was there. So he was well rested. Maybe his brain just turned applesauce. Can we just consider that? But this is the thing. This is like the Biden revenge tour. And at one point, VB, we had Hunter Biden using a scenario where if he were president, he would do this on illegal immigration, which basically is I would allow everybody to come in because that's what my dad did. It's incredible that this guy is going to get he will get airtime. In other words, like if Hunter Biden comes to you and says, I want an interview, I don't care if you're Fox News or MSNBC,
right,
you're going to give it to him. But this is bad for the Democratic Party because all they want is for the Bidens to go away completely, and they just don't want to do it. Every time they try to get out Democrats, the Hunter Bidens and Joe Bidens and Jill Bidens pull them back in.
It's so true. And as good as Tulsi Gabbard was last week when she scorched earth Hillary, my one wish was that when she was listing all of the stuff that ended with it and she was on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers, I almost wish she said, although we did not see any reports of her using Ambien, just to put in that little needle twist,
That would have been great. So overall, the media is not covering this whole revelation by Tulsi Gabbard. As far it was with hard evidence, as far as John Brennan, former head of the CIA, James Comey, former head of the FBI, Barack Obama, the former president of the United States, as far as them obviously manipulating intelligence around Donald Trump and the whole Russia collusion thing, and basically making sure, or at least tried to, that he wouldn't win the 2016 election. I guess the media is never going to change.
Listen, this week was loaded with, quotes that we can have a good laugh at. Everybody's got a laptop by Hunter was funny. Jeff Daniels saying that Kamala would have been Lincoln. We all enjoyed that one, right? But the one that really is damaging and that I can't believe people aren't making more of was Brennan saying, when he's looking at some of the Russia information and they're saying this stuff isn't right, and he says, yeah, but it rings true.
Rings true.
That one is crazy. Here's a guy that had all the power and all the influence and could make 51 guys sign a letter. And he was acknowledging that it wasn't true, but it rung true. And so that was good enough. Let's go with it. There's got to be consequences for that stuff. We can't have one administration putting out misinformation that tries to bring down another administration. And it is mind-boggling that no one in any of the liberal media is at least going, we should at least kick the tires on this, right? I mean, we got to do something. No, they're like, no, forget it.
They just want that next contract. I mean, they're just saying whatever they think their bosses want them to hear and what their audience wants them to hear instead of what they should hear. And on that note...
They're too busy on the Colbert picket lines.
Oh, we didn't even get to that. Yeah, lose $40 million a year, but it's all about free speech and saving democracy, I guess. No, you lose $40 million a year, you're gone. It's that simple. VB The Wise, thanks so much for joining us. We'll have you back again soon.
Always, Joe. Thank you.
Giddy up. And this is the Judge Jeanine Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday Show. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
The Judge Jeanine Pirro Tunnel to Towers Foundation Sunday Morning Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.